Good gaming champions. Happy Thursday and welcome to another episode of COT. We coined that last week.
This day we did.
And I feel like we were all wearing the same clothes last week when we filmed that.
Just
They
last
never let
week.
me leave.
It feels like we just talked about this. And it might be a little bit of my fall on the sword here. So with that, welcome everybody to another episode of Champions of Tabletop Podcast. We love to have you back. Thanks for being here. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't say right off the bat, please make sure you like, subscribe. It really helps the algorithm, helps us continue to make this great content. And
Ring the bell.
ring the bell.
There you go. Ring it so you can get notified for our for personalized or to see all the videos that pop up. We got some videos coming out. It's gonna be great. Got you.
Okay. All right. And of course, Dion's been rolling out some new videos as well, talking about the new pre-releases coming out. So Dion, those are going well.
Yeah, pre-orders, 5. I'm just picking 5 pre-orders that are coming that looks decent, and then 5 new releases that happen in the same week. So those pre-orders, you have to run and get those from your friendly local game store. If you cannot find them on your friendly local game store, or your friendly local game store cannot order them, or you don't have a friendly local game store, you can always go to Voss Media store.com and click that little pre-order button there and pay, and we'll ship it out to you as soon as we get it. So that will notify me and ding me. So they'll only be up for a couple weeks, and then they have to, of course, go away because there's a limited time to pre-order those. But I am going just 5 releases and 5 pre, so that should be out actually after this video. They should already have a couple rolling. So
yeah. So that'll be a new weekly segment for as long as Dion can keep doing it, just to highlight those things.
that's the truth.
I mean, that's legit.
So definitely make sure you check those out on the Champions of Tabletop site. And then, of course, we've got some other exciting content coming out soon. We'll be doing some stuff at Adepticon, which we're really excited about as well. And, potentially some stuff at Origins as well. So we've got an exciting year lined up. And looking forward to it, gentlemen.
Oh, it's going to be a groovy year.
Yeah.
Be a good year.
Yes.
Absolutely. So with that said, of course, we'll start this week, and we'd be remiss if we didn't, as always, thank our partner of the week, Voss Media Board Game Cafe in Galesburg, Michigan, where we host every week. So, Dion, once again, thank you for hosting us. Glad to be here.
Happy to have you.
And with that said, everybody, let's move on to our comments of the week. So this week we're just going to do our top comment of the week, and that is going to be by Superfan, which I'm dubbing him. I don't know if he wants this or not, but Nurgle Matthew 893, who wins the top comment of the week. He says, "Great part of this show every week. Delivers the feeling of hanging out at the game store, even when one can't make it in. Woohoo! Board game community, Champions of Tabletop." So,
Woo.
Nurgle Matthew, that's exactly what we were going for, guys. We want this to be an experience of you sitting around with your friends, talking about things in the board game community, industry news, hot topics where you just yell at each other and have a good time.
Agree.
Big degree.
Big agree.
Like big degree. Like a big degree. Like a master degree.
You don't even get a doctorate, right?
Doctorate. Yes.
Look, I'm not trying to do too much.
Too much. No.
You got a master's.
Doctorate.
I'm good.
You don't want to be intimidating with your agreement.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, with the glasses, it looks like you have a doctorate,
Right.
just so you're clear.
Did your wife
Damn right.
did your wife make you wear those this week?
No, it's just I need to wear them and I don't.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I'm wearing them.
Might
Look good, Shay.
hope you maybe beat me one time in Heat.
Oh, don't you start. No,
And we keep rolling.
Yeah, we
Just
keep rolling. Keep rolling. Because want to hear something about Heat? Okay, so when I went to MittenCon this weekend, and it was like a invite on, it was cool. It was fun. But they wanted to play Heat. And I was like, okay, I'm going in. Some people didn't play before, and some people did. And I went to and actually it's going to be great to talk about this maybe later. But I was like, okay, I'm going to teach this. I play Heat. I love Heat. Do you want me to not do my do the best I can? Because I'm teaching y'all.
You can't ask that.
I did.
You can't ask that.
I did ask it.
You
'cause
just
I'm
have
being real.
to go.
And so
you read the room.
They said no. Go in. And
How
guess
badly, Dion, do you want to be decimated when we play this game right now?
Well, do you not only want me to throw it back in your
Shay,
face?
do you want me to
Shay,
pander to you, or
Shay.
Yes.
So are you saying I beat a bunch of people that don't know how to play this game, therefore I'm good at this game?
I'm going to say no.
that
2
your
people knew how to
argument?
play the game. But yeah, I beat the other 2. It too. But what I'm saying is, I won because I know the game. and I need you to stop hoarding that. If you really want to go again, I can run the event again.
I'm just saying, what
I can
You need to
run
run it again. It sounds like.
I'm pretty sure I could jump the fence at a middle school or a basketball game and like dunk on some kids, but it doesn't make me good at basketball.
Oh, Brandon, you dunking? Really? No, let's talk about this. You're dunking on people.
I'll tell you what, hey, Brandon, I'd really dominate Little League right now. They would not hit my fastball.
I would be a pretty rough defensive lineman. I'm just saying, let's go junior high football. I'd be pretty scary out there.
Oh, how funny over here.
Yeah.
The whole point is you don't want the smoke. That's all I was trying to say.
Well,
Anyway.
you don't need the smoke when you're the fire, baby.
Not sure that's how
That's
science
a thinker.
works.
I don't know where to go with this.
Because I'm a redhead. I'm a redhead. It's cool. You know, fire.
Speaking of
redhead.
fire, feet to the fire.
Yeah, okay.
No,
We're already
that's
in it right
later.
now.
That's
Okay,
later.
all the way to the bottom.
That's later.
Just skip right to the
It
bottom.
made perfect
And
sense.
great show, guys.
did.
Great, wonderful show.
Especially as a redhead.
Yes, it made so much sense.
Okay, no, it's just next.
It did because you have those glasses
Yeah,
on. That's why it made sense.
That's
to you.
why it made sense. I
Right.
totally get it.
Yeah,
No,
the
I don't-
logic was there.
There's
The logic was there.
Just because it was 200 IQ, Dion.
It was
Fall-
200
Don't run those
IQ.
fingers at me.
Fall on the sword. We're moving.
It's happening right now.
All right, so let's move on to Fall on the Sword. I'll just go ahead and go first.
Okay.
I don't get to ever go first. So with that, I've
Especially in
got
heat.
as the winner.
Oh, you got me round. You should have did that. I'm ready. Anyway, go ahead.
I've got two. So I took a lot of guff after last week's video for having to
You did?
stand on the other side of the pit, arguing that board games were not art.
You
So-
took guff from who?
Yeah, we do. I'm
Just
not.
in
We gave it.
general.
Oh, we gave
And-
it to you. Gotcha.
Yeah, and especially even after the show. So, with that said, I mean, again, I had to do something I didn't necessarily want to do, but I did it for the show, did it for the group. So, I'll fall on sword for that. And then I did, I don't know if it's Fallen Sword, but we did find BMX Race. I found it on eBay for a cool $90.
But you didn't buy it immediately.
I did not buy it
That's
immediately.
it's to buy. I still
It was
confused.
insta buy.
They call it. They call them Grail games, and when you find your Grail game, you're supposed to buy it.
Yes, that's like I open a new credit card. I'm buying this $99 game, and then we can pay that off in 2 weeks.
I just struggle for a game that literally cost $2 at Kmart back in the 1980s.
But it's your
But it's your
Grail
Grail
game.
game.
It's a different thing. It wasn't like It wasn't like
Everybody in the industry, or everybody who's collectibles or collecting or purchases board games, they always have that one game that is like the one that got away from them. And that is one that you brings back nostalgic. You could pull out and play with your kids the same way you learned it when you were a kid. You have to run out and buy those.
Well,
Grail
for $90,
games.
I'd be afraid to open it because it is factory
You're
sealed.
right. It is factory sealed.
Yeah,
again? Wow,
you
that's
see it?
amazing.
Yes,
I didn't.
it's
I
so-
didn't. You sent it, and I didn't look at it. I'm going to be
looked
honest.
at
I
it
just
and
seen
thought
it. I was like,
supposed
oh,
to
cool,
have
he
a
found it.
sold on the bottom of it because I expected you to already have it.
No.
That was surprising. You spend a lot of money on this other stuff, and that's something
you
that is
can't even-
that's your
But the thing
Grail.
is, I can open them. Like, I can't open them.
You can't
You
open
can't
it. You can
open it.
open it and play
You
it.
can
You
open
spent
it.
You spent the $90 on it. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Right? Nobody. It's. I don't even talk about it anymore.
Brandon, were you going to say something over there?
I was be like, "What's your guys' Grail game?" Like, I got one. I know my exact Grail game.
Oh, we talked about this before. I can bring it up again. The Price is Right game. That's my Grail game.
I played that when I was a kid. I really liked it
Yes,
too.
I really want that game.
Gosh, I don't know what my Grail game would be, to be honest with you. Oh, it was until just recently. It was that Hunters game, that Comic Hunters game was my Grail game. It was a game I was hunting for to get. I even sent somebody that was on their way to Brazil, and I gave them money, like $150, like buy as many copies as you can. You know, go get that game. But I don't really have a Grail game right now that I'm hunting for.
Yeah.
Because I've got 1,500 in the building, so I don't have one that I'm missing.
Brandon, what's yours?
I don't know what it's called, but
That's
it's
a great
the
start.
very first board game I've ever played. Had to have been like 5 or 6. I've never seen it since. It's like a periscope over a map, and you're dropping a little magnet like paratrooper military guy down on the map, but you're looking in a little spyglass and you see it like you're in an airplane.
Really?
You see the map as if you're in an airplane, like
So
moving
something like
back
a
and
bomber
forth.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're just like dropping little dudes with little parachutes.
Wow,
and they
never
have
even heard of that one. That sounds kind of unique and different.
Yeah, it was really. I've never seen it since.
And that's when Brandon got into
war.
war games.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
low key.
Yeah.
Low key.
Well,
Yes.
with that, leave a comment below. What's your Grail game, and would you spend $90 for a $2?
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
If I could have spent 90, I could have spent 150 to get that one game. I would have done it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And then there's another game called Finders Keepers. It was an old Nickelodeon game show. Like really old. It was basically
And then I'd have been really pissed when they announced that they release it here in the United States.
Yeah.
I'd have been so mad.
But the exchange rate's in your favor down
Yeah,
there.
okay.
So you could have got more for your money.
Yeah.
Well, maybe some nice friends could pitch in and get it for me. So that'd be wonderful. With that said, we'll move on to industry news. We've got some good topics this week, gentlemen. Actually, Fallen Sword. I'm sorry, I was skipping ahead.
Yeah.
Shay, do you have anything for Fallen Sword?
No.
Because I know Dion said he had a huge list.
I did, but I don't remember where I put it. That's my fall on the sword.
Fall on the sword, yeah.
Another fall on the sword is
Aging
remembering
elderly
what.
memory.
Yes,
Great
I
actor.
am. I am definitely. I'm losing it. Everything, ladies and gentlemen. Please, it is very serious when your memory goes. please see a doctor.
That's all we can afford.
That's all we can.
Brandon, do you have
Singing
any,
the arms of the
thing on your
angel.
Fallen Sword?
No, I'm perfect as always. Or if I'm not perfect, I'll make myself perfect.
I like the finger point that nobody got to see.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these days we'll have to have Brandon with the webcam on so people
I
can see his
really,
face.
really want that to happen. Like it.
No,
it,
he doesn't.
It really
I know he
should- it
doesn't
really
want
should.
to, and
I
that's
mean,
why
should.
I'm
I.
in the other content. They can just watch some Free Blades content.
Yeah, there
I
you go.
know, but
I know, but it's like
See
we
what Brandon
talk
looks
to.
like.
they
Watch
don't
Free
get your
Blades.
finger points. They don't get the
Right.
looks on your face of just
And
disdain.
they're classics. I'm just gonna say.
They don't get your heavy breathing.
They still get that.
Open mouth.
Interesting news. Let's go. Yeah.
Yep, but they still get you making fun of disabilities.
That is true. He does. I don't remember that.
So we'll go ahead and move on to industry news. We're gonna go right here, Brandon, and zoom in on this as we go through it. So Asmode, gentlemen, has been in the news with some reportings of earnings and revenues. We're going to start with them. Kind of interesting, especially in an industry that has seen such large growth in the board game hobby space. Asmode actually saw, and this is interesting to me, a decrease in their overall growth scale. So not necessarily that they had a decline, but it massively decreased in the growth that they had previously been seeing, which is interesting because they had some huge hits in 2023 with
Yeah.
Ticket to Ride Legacy. Star Wars deck building game was a big one for them last year. And let's not forget that they have the stalwarts of the Catans and the Pandemics. And
Well, I know about here in the United States, they have like some of the best library of games. They've either went out and bought them. Fantasy Flight always releases. Asmode owns them. You've got I can get Freelancer. I can get Pandasaurus through them now.
Yeah.
I can get Lucky Duck Games through them now. I mean, they have known to be like the distributor here in the United States, at least in the U.S. And they're very powerful. Like they have a lot. And I love my Asmode rep. Everybody's like, you hate them because they're so big. I love them. They have some of the best programs for small places that we're trying to get going started. A good like buyers program, really good helping retailers get in and share their games. I also have one of the best demo programs out there when it comes to a demo program for places like us that can play and like to play their games. But if you're talking about starter games, like we were talking about last week, Gateway Island and so forth. But if you're talking about gateway games, I don't think anybody has more than them. Azul, Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride. I mean, I don't think anybody distributes here in the United States, at least, more than they do. So they are the board game connoisseurs. Like they're the legit.
And that's what's interesting about their business model, too, is it allows for people to have access as small retailers to start providing board games as a part of their inventory. But one of the biggest downfalls of this space is shipping. And when you can have so many titles under one roof that you can order a couple copies of from a huge library, if you're trying to build a board game cafe like yourself, and to have all these games you can get without paying them for shipping and them shipping, them shipping, them shipping. I mean, that saves a ton of money as a business.
Something that surprised me about Asmode is they don't, like a lot of my other distributors, run a like Asmode Play Day or whatever where you actually go to convention with them, because I imagine they have so much. Another thing is they used to, up until just the previous year, they would charge 0 shipping if you were part of their like best sellers program. And that's you purchasing just the best sellers. And you want them in your store anyway. You want the Ticket to Ride, the Azul, the card game that they have, the Princess one, the you know what I'm talking about, Love Letters, yes. Yeah. You want those, right? Like those are what you want in your store, because people that walk in are going to be looking for those games. Now I don't try to focus my store around those. I do something a little differently, but they are when it comes to like wargaming, Game Workshop, they are the Games Workshop of board gaming. I mean, they are the better than, because they have everything. They have great programs for startup companies. They have a great demo programs if you're running, which nobody caters to what we do. And they do it. So when they say that they're seeing something, that is a little nerve-wracking for me, because that's scary that they are seeing any kind of drop at all.
Well, on the flip side of that, what we're actually seeing is a total growth of their business of about 7%. So they have seen an uptick. It just hasn't been in the board game space. Ironically, where it has come from is the TCG place. And what I found very interesting is, you know, we tend to kind of put the blinders on of here in the United States.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I was like, no way. They have like My Hero Academia, and what was like, they did carry the Star Wars Destiny, but that died out very fast.
Well, but they will be bringing the Star Wars Unlimited that you're very excited about.
Well, and then that's future growth. I understand that. So if you were to say that 6 months from now, I'd be like, heck yeah, because I'm invested. But they didn't really have, other than Keyforge they purchased, and it's kind of a dying card game, they didn't have any. But again, you were saying,
well, and that's the big thing is when you look at what they distribute outside of the United States, I mean, it's a who's who. You know, they distribute both Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Flesh and Blood, and Lorcana outside of the United States, which makes sense because obviously for those type of companies, you know, and again, without having a deep background into Wizards of the Coast or New Legends, I think I might be messing that up, that does Flesh and Blood, or obviously Ravensburger with Lorcana. I mean, I don't know what their global distribution looks like, but obviously Asmode already has that established. So for these kind of companies to be able to just kind of put it under the envelope of Asmode and say, hey, you already have the distribution centers globally, we can get those out and then get a more prompt release of your titles, especially when you have all those new prints. So,
well, and I think that goes on the fact that Asmode probably has good groundwork in some of the other countries that allows them, because they don't do any of those here locally. Like I can't get Magic, I can't get Lorcana. I wish they would work with Ravensburger. I think Ravensburger's really screwed it up the way that they've been doing their releases and how poorly they've been able to allocate. I think Asmode does it really good. I just got a call today with my Star Wars Unlimited, and I'm super excited, and they even allocated me. And I was like, I don't care. It's still better than what I was expecting. So I'm very excited to work with Asmode. A lot of people poop on them, but I think they're a really, really good company, and they do a very good job here locally.
Brandon, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just with them saying that they saw still growth, but just less growth than they initially expected. Do you think that that's like the wave cresting post-COVID? Everything during COVID was, I'm stuck inside. I can't play card games with my friends. I'm going to go buy a bunch of board games that I've always wanted to play. Now they own the board games that they've always wanted to play. There's not a whole push to buy a bunch of new. But then they're, now we can come outside. We could play all the TCGs with our friends. We could do all this stuff. And that's why the growth in that sector's up.
Well, I actually think it's going to transition really well into our next topic because
it's almost like I knew.
It's almost like you knew. Because I think that does tie very much into the crowdfunding space, which I think if you want to look at it from that perspective, where are those dollars going? Well, I think a lot of them end up going towards crowdfunding, which has continued to grow in excess year after year in terms of number of revenues. And that's going to kind of lead into our second topic this week, which is actually based on CMON, because it was...
Which CMON also with Asmode.
They are.
So CMON also here in the United States, that's how I get my CMON games is through Asmode. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's fascinating because with CMON, some huge industry news, and it's almost kind of reminds me of like the streamer battles of Twitch and Kick and Mixer and YouTube. I almost feel like we're kind of heading towards that now with board games. Between Kickstarter, Gamefound, and BackerKit. But long story short is, and you probably have heard this, but we're going to dive deeper into it. CMON is now going to end their 12-year relationship with Kickstarter. That's a really big deal because just to give you some historical context, CMON has run 60, that's a 60 campaigns on Kickstarter. Their average has been about $1.9 million raised per
So
Kickstarter.
stupid. Like
And
they
s-
need Kickstarter.
And
Get
here's
outta
the
here.
crazy part. In the 12 years that they've been in a relationship with Kickstarter, they have generated $108 million for crowdfunding within that time.
And yet people still say, "Oh, you need my money to make that game?
Yeah.
Get out."
Well, and so overall, I kind of did the backwards math on this. So about 5% of their business with CMON actually came from crowdfunding, which puts their valuation. They've generated about $2 billion in revenue over the last 12 years with how much has come from Kickstarter. So you talk about a scale of business.
I hear the Koch brothers are doing a Kickstarter soon. Hopefully we back that too because they don't have the money to back their stuff. So hopefully they'll.
But to kind of tie this in, so this is a big get for Gamefound, obviously, for all those numbers we listed. Gamefound has actually been massively rising. Obviously, most people know Gamefound from Awakened Realms.
I like Gamefound.
The Polish company. They got very heavy into it a few years back and started to make a really good name for themselves with their platform. And then, of course, BackerKit, who has famously partnered with Gloomhaven, and I'm forgetting the name of the company that does Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, but they've got that partnership. And so Ravensburger has actually also agreed to partner, and they've got a big partnership with Gamefound as well. They have a huge financial backing now with Gamefound. So you're kind of starting to see all of these moving pieces. In fact, 2023, Gamefound saw the revenue go up to $56 million, which is actually how much Kickstarter came down by. And keep in mind, Kickstarter kind of covers a lot of different things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Gamefound is pretty darn specific to just the tabletop hobby space. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this? Where do you think it's going to go in the future of everything?
I'm super excited about Warren Buffett's new Kickstarter.
So, how I feel about this, but seriously, I love the fact that Gamefound is getting so much love because the only way to make crowdfunding better is with competition. Like that's the only way you're going to make. You're not going to see any changes with anything that's wrong with Kickstarter or whatever crowdfunding platform you've been to without competition. And the fact that CMON is now with Gamefound is going to shed a light to a lot of people. In fact, I know somebody who's doing a Kickstarter, Gamefound, because of what happened with their Kickstarter. But they're doing great right now. And like news like this will even help them more because now more people's going to look at that side of it. And so like I see this as a good thing. I also like BackerKit. They're not like big yet, but I like the fact that they're part of it too because again, I want to see competition. And I was at Gen Con last year and I was at one of their events and
BackerKit.
yeah, BackerKit. And they seem legit. I mean, they always have been like the BackerKit for a lot of different other crowdfunding, and to see them doing stuff now, especially like you said, they had a Gloomhaven. They had a couple other people I've seen around. They're still newish.
Well, because
but-
they also kind of funneled a lot of the data through BackerKit, where you would fund something on Kickstarter, and then to kind of finalize your pledge, you'd have to go through BackerKit to kind of solidify shipping and stuff like that.
And so they have the the back end because that's what they were. And so again, and they will, how companies do. Oh, we're gonna listen this time. We're gonna be different because we're gonna listen to y'all and do y'all. Which I mean, we'll see. But but again,
but do you think it creates, Dion? One of the things we've talked about is the benefits of crowdfunding in terms of kind of the advertising angle of it, because so many eyeballs go there for the call of the now, if you will. The more players we keep getting, the more exclusive deals. Do you think that kind of segregates everything a bit? Because now, the average person in the hobby isn't maybe going to all 3 sites to see all the new stuff. How much pressure do you think that puts on all these different websites to perform, really?
Well, again, I've said this, and I've kind of feel like a broken record. I don't think the websites are for CMON. They're not for Awakened Realms. They're not for these guys that want to do these releases. They are for Shay, who wants to launch his copy of his game.
Yeah,
they're for
agreed.
somebody who cannot go and do it themselves.
Right.
You cannot be released with Asmode and make $2 billion and then go, we really want you to prepay for our product. And I don't see why people don't think this is
and I understand
complete
that,
ripoff.
But the real question is, put yourself in the place of CMON. So if you're CMON's business director, how do you approach this as a man in business who owns a business and kind of that mindset? Would you find, what would you need to see? Because the part we don't have is what was in the agreement, right?
Well, I obviously, if people keep buying it, I would keep doing it.
But would you segregate yourself to just one of the sites?
Well, I mean,
or
because, okay, so Ninja, I don't know if you remember back in the whole thing, he was a big streamer. He dropped one and went for the other one, and everybody followed him over and had a huge push. And I can't remember exactly which one for what,
went from
but
Twitch to
Mixer.
Yeah,
and
Mixer.
everybody was like, oh
Michigan
my God,
guy.
Mixer's the future, right? So,
Mixer died.
Mixer died, which is okay. But now
he
crawling.
financially profited, then he went back to Twitch and
profited
again.
again.
he's on
So, I
TikTok
mean,
as well. Go ahead.
he's going, it's the same situation here. The guy says, okay, Gamefound is where, if you're a board game, you should be on Gamefound. Like, I agree. And I like Gamefound's site. I like what they do. I like a lot of times they highly recommend you doing a retailer pledge, which I really like. So as a owner of a business, obviously it's working. They're going to continue to do it, and that's where they're going to go. I don't see it being a big deal one way or the other, whether they're on Kickstarter, Gamefound, Backer Kit, because they're big enough. They're like the big dogs trying to tell you where to go to get their stuff. And people are going to go get their stuff because they get high-end IPs like Marvel and DC. And then they also released Zombicides and everything else with all this extra, which I understand why. I understand why CMON does it, because they're like, nobody's going to buy all this retail. Well, people do now. People do buy all of this in retail.
Well, and ironically, Marvel's Zombicide was their biggest Kickstarter ever, with just shy of $10 million raised.
Yeah, I don't know what they do. What did they do with Deceased? I wonder on that one. Did you ever see that one? Did that do
I
do
don't know
well?
if it's
That's probably
actually-
why they decided. They were like, this one sucks. We're going to go over to Gamefound. But they will. This is what irritates me. They will re-release their product on Gamefound and be like, oh, but this one has an expansion, and you can get all this other stuff that we once offered as exclusives. Now, I mean, so I don't dislike mini studios, right? I'm usually right on board with any studio because they're struggling just like any other business, and they're trying to make the best decisions they can to be profitable in the end of the day. These guys are profitable. Stop it. These guys are extremely profitable. They need nobody to back them. They don't need your money to make their game. So I have a problem with CMON going anywhere. I don't care. They can go to a really nice place other than here.
Brandon, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so I did some research while you guys were talking, pulled up some numbers. So I think that CMON moving away from Kickstarter to Gamefound means almost nothing to Kickstarter, but is pretty a big deal for Gamefound.
Yeah.
So 2023 revenue for Gamefound, what do you think? We're ballpark it, guys.
Gamefound was $56 million.
Good job.
Well, I mean, it was. I already said it.
Oh, okay. Well, fair. I was googling.
There's your
so,
fall on the sword. Yep.
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go. You weren't paying attention.
I'll edit this out. So Kickstarter 2023 revenue. What do you guys think?
It dropped by 43 million.
Yeah, but it sells 7.6 billion.
Yeah, but they do
without
other
being-
things than just board games.
Yeah,
So it's like you go to Gamefound just for board games, which I love, and I like the fact that that's a great place to go if you're like, what's the next cool thing they're pushing out?
But that's just like I'm not comparing the order of magnitudes in scale because of the two companies, but taking $60 million away from 7.2 billion
Yeah, and
is a drop in a bucket.
And I think if
I agree.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Brandon Sanderson, the author, had the biggest Kickstarter ever, and I think it was close to like somewhere between 36 and 50 million dollars raised.
Wow.
But again, back to the point, they service everything from video games to technology to books to, I mean, they service everything. So I think your point, Brandon, being if they lose the board game space, how big of an impact does it make? And I think it makes a little bit of an impact. I mean, no business wants to lose, 60, 70 million dollars of revenue, especially when they don't really do anything other than host a website. But I think on the flip side of it, as somebody who's used all of those, and I've probably had in my 5 years of the hobby with crowdfunding, probably close to 45, 50 backings. And I can confidently tell you, in fact, my game of the week this week, I only got, which I backed in 2021. I only got it because they're a stand-up company, but apparently somehow, some way I missed some email about shipping costs. So even though I had put over $200 to get the all-in pledge of this, by technicality, they didn't have to send me the game because I missed somewhere a couple years ago or a year ago the $22 for shipping that I had to pay. Because in the rules, if you don't pay the shipping too, they don't actually owe you the game. And so to me, it's one of those things that it's just like you just miss one email, even though you pledge a couple $100. Sorry, you didn't pay for it. So for me, Gamefound is just much more in your face. It's easier to follow. I feel like Kickstarter, I miss stuff all the time. I also like the Gamefound is doing a flex pay system, which I like because I like to hold my money longer. So the fact that I can back something and
Isn't that just a pre-order?
it is a pre-order.
So then you're just taking
Flex-
it from your friendly local game.
Technically, no.
Do they
Flex
give
pay.
you? Oh, do you have to pay for the
Like-
you pay for it? You just finance it over a period of time.
Are you talking about flex pay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
They
in
get
terms
all
of
of they get all of their money to do what they got to do.
they
with
get it, but instead of putting it up today, they'll take it over the next 6 months,
Oh,
8
okay.
months.
Okay.
So they'll take a monthly pull, which I like because then I'm not putting it all up front. That's just 8 more months I get to hold on to my money, especially with interest rates on money markets being much higher. So I like having my money longer. So with that said, I like that system versus
Yeah.
here's the, because everything's $200 today on there. So it's like, here's $200 today. Well, I can spread that out at $25 a month for the next 8 months or whatever.
Huh.
And yeah, I just at the end of the day, I see CMON going to Gamefound good for those smaller companies because now people more will know what Gamefound is.
Yeah.
And I think that is where my excitement of this comes from because you may not known I'm coming out with a game soon and I've been looking at different things and I don't want to say too much, but I've been looking at all three of these things and seeing like will be best for what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And so that gives me more of a push to not have to be forced to go to one site over another site.
Yeah.
Like this gives me a little bit more of a,
Yeah.
okay, I can do it this way because, yeah. So
Well, I
that's
think
how I see it.
kind of see the collection of the space into one site as a positive in the respect of it gets everybody looking in one place who are interested in that board game hobby. However, on the flip side of it, then do you start to lose the power to Gamefound to, again, without knowing the back dealings of it, for somebody who wants to release a game, obviously for that hosting and the visibility, they're taking a percentage of those revenues. So then do you start to see those fees start to uptick? And then it's like, well, where else are you going to go? So that's my only one fear of Gamefound is again, I think they're very holistic right now of, hey, we're for the gamer, by the gamer, but sometimes that can go away when you start talking, oh, now we're doing 200 million, 300 million in revenue. And yeah, if we just upticked that percent by 1%, now we're doing $400 or $500 million.
Yeah.
It's just, it's easy to think small increases, big impact on them. Well, that's going to come down on people like you, Shay, as you roll a game out.
Yeah, so I agree. So we'll see what happens. All I know is it's coming out this year. Don't know where's my camera. Don't know when, but it will happen. I actually have an idea, but I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want y'all to come at me in the comments.
All right. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the game. I don't know why I said the game. That was dumb.
Time to play the game.
Time to play the game. Welcome to the pit. That's what he said. What's the clap for?
To know where he could
Little baby clap.
to know where he could cut.
Just a little baby clap. What? Hercules.
So the pit.
All right, the pit. All right, we got a very interesting. Now, where's my camera, Brandon? I don't even know where I'm looking anymore. So,
See, sometimes you ask for the camera.
Let's go ahead and go on to the pit for this week. So, gentlemen, kind of an interesting one, especially in lieu of Wormspan coming out, and obviously that game is rolled out now. Huge, massive hit for our friend Jamie over at Stonemeyer Games. But it comes down to hand-holding in a game. So this week's question is, how much cuddles do you want from the developer when you're learning a new game? Do you want them to just wrap you up in a big cozy blanket and just cuddle you all day like it's a cold winter afternoon and you just need something nice and snuggly?
I feel so safe.
No.
You would too.
No.
Unless I got my chin on you because that's a little scratchy. But then the other one would be, do you want just, some first date hand holding? Just make sure I'm going the right direction. Don't get myself hurt. Let's have a good time together. Not too committed yet. Or is it, like probably my wife of don't touch me. I don't want anything to do with this.
Wow.
And,
Poor guy.
yeah. And, don't come near me. So what kind of relationship do you want with a new game and how it teaches you how to play?
Well, I like a game that tells me what to do and when to do it.
Just like your wife.
This is a kid show. But yeah, look, making a rule book, let's just put it out there. Making a rule book is really hard.
I agree. I agree with that.
Because you have to try to figure out, without being in the room, what a player needs to know, what information they haven't figured out, or what information that's been overlooked through pig testing and stuff like that, right? So, yes, a little hand holding. But I feel like the scale of the hand holding has to equal the scale of the game. For example, who didn't do this good was ISS Vanguard. ISS Vanguard did some hand holding. The first mission, we figured out
They
we were good.
told us what to do, how to do it,
Yeah.
when to do it, when to roll dice, and then all of a sudden it was like, see the cliff?
Pow! Right, that's what I'm going at.
Figure out what you do next, and you're like, no,
I don't even touch you, baby.
yeah, it was
we
bad.
were using dice that we didn't supposed to even have
Yeah,
yet because they didn't explain it.
No.
And so that is, too much. That's not enough. But then again,
Well, it was too much to not enough very quickly.
what I'm saying is,
Like there was no walking into it.
yeah,
It's like you were boiling water in a pan just dropped into the snow.
It was quick. It was like from here. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. You have to do this exactly like this.
Just big,
roll
warm
this many
cuddles.
dice, and then
I
all of a
hate
sudden
you.
they go, nah, figure out whatever your next move is, and you're like, I don't know. Do we get off the? What do we do? Like, where do we
Yeah.
go? How do we move to the next step? What is? And it was just it was complete a space.
What do I do with my hand?
Yeah, right. I, that's the way I felt. I kind of agree with Shay a little bit. There has to be some sort, but there's also many games that I've played that has a hand-holding element to it. Like this is how to play the game. and I've played it, and it's been a dumbed down version of the game.
Fog of Love.
No, like
probably Heat.
Like Heat.
Yeah.
Like Mind Management. Games that really, if you just played this is how to play this game, you would go, yeah, I'm good. I don't really want to play this game. This is not a game for me. I do not like this game at all. I understand the point of teaching the game, but you have to still bring the elements that make the game what it is. And I'm okay with hand holding, but you have to, if you're going to hold my hand, I want the full experience of the game. Don't miss out elements and cut the game down and then go, oh yeah, but that's not the full game. You have to play the full game. That's my problem with the new player hand-holding type of material. I think it's very important, and everybody should have those little cards, that you have that tells you kind of what to do on your turn, player aids. I know Wormspan has this is what you do on the first few turns if you have no clue what you're doing. And I think those are okay. Those are good direction pointers of you should, do that. You should put down you should excavate first. Then you should add a dragon. Then you should on your third turn do this. And it kind of, once you go about a few rounds, you go, oh, I got this. Right? This is simple.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. I'm all right with that. But it is hard. I teach tons of games every week. Between Shay and I, we probably teach 5 to 10 games at least here at Voss Media. And that's just people walking in the door that they're like, what do you think's good? Now set them at a table, boom, pop it out. Minimum 5 to 10 games, probably each, that we teach. So I do like this is easy to roll into elements of the game. And the way that you don't get the full experience, but these are the key elements of the game that's going to make you want to play further into it. Does that make sense? So I think and it's hard to draw that line, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head being put on the spot, but I think there's a point that a lot of games have crossed over and not done a very good job at doing that. Like I said, Mind Management, we played. It was I sold it here. It was a Kickstarter version. I was able to get my hands on a few copies of it. We played it, and I go, this game's horrible. Like, we've already figured it out. If this is the game, this is extremely dumb. This is a very dumb game. Very based, pulled everything aside, and then they go, oh, but then we're going to add this little element in for the next game. And I go, okay, I can see the complexity. And then about halfway through the second game, I was like, this is a really, really good game. But most people don't have the time to ramp up. There's so many games begging for your attention. Nobody has the time to go through all of that and get baby stepped into those.
I would say this, like my game of the week last week, Harrow County, I think I really like their format of, as you go through the campaigns, I actually do like hey, here's the core. Okay, now we're going to add an element. Now we're going to add another element. Now we're going to add another element. So, for me, I'm probably more of the 4th or 5th date hand holding where you're really starting to cup each other tight with your fingers wrapped around each other's knuckles. I think Dion, you're more of like first date where it's like we're barely touching fingers and it's like, ooh, everything's all
I am
moist.
definitely like all the way first date. Let's go all the way.
I mean, in terms of hand holding,
we're married. First date, we are married.
Yeah,
you and I are forever.
Shay's more of sounds like you're more like me. You're not all in on the cuddles, but you want a little
what
deeper
I would
hand holding.
Rather have, which I felt like because I played Wormspan. Wormspan had all the things you need to know on your board. Like
it did. I agree.
It had everything. Like even when you needed a reminder when you excavate farther and farther that you need to drop, spend another egg for it. They had it right up there.
Yeah, because you put the thing right on the egg. Yeah.
They have so I think,
but Wormspan is made for a very entry level. If you've played Wingspan, you could play Wormspan.
Oh yeah,
it's a very introduction level game. It's not one, but I'm talking about Heat, for instance, or Mind Management. Those are the games or even ISS Vanguard.
Well, I think app driven games, that's a huge advantage.
Or even what's that one they did with Gloomhaven? The Jaws of the Lion.
Yeah.
There was way too much hand. By the 10th, I finally get to use my abilities by the 10th mission.
Well,
and by the way, at 6th mission, they'll let you now loot the guy. I want to go back and loot all the people I didn't loot then from the first 4 missions that I wasn't able to loot.
Well,
I don't like that. It just
to me a good one also is Destiny's. To me, again, because it was an app-driven game, it allowed to kind of teach you along the path.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I never felt insulted by my lack of knowledge as I was learning how to play Destinies. But I felt like the app did a great job of educating me in a very high intellect way where it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, great. Thanks for telling me that now. Okay, thanks. So I think Lucky Duck had a great intro with Destinies personally.
And I think also, like, I keep staring at Arc Nova. Arc Nova is one of the heavier games, right? But they have, again, I love to see the things on my board. I don't want it to be too clogged up, but I want to see, like, yeah, you can tell me the rules. I'm going to want to know the rules. But if you could give me a good board and a good, like, overall graphics is nice, I can do a little hand holding because I'm following along with all things I could do. I can't do, like, ISIS Vanguard. That was a kick.
Yeah,
like,
well,
you're right.
And the best comment I ever heard about Arc Nova, I absolutely 1000% agree with, is it said, if you're taught this game, you will love it. If you have to teach yourself, you're going to hate it. And I honestly felt that way with Arc Nova. I enjoyed it when someone taught me the game. And I went through and read through and everything made more sense because I played through a couple rounds. But I understand not everybody has their game guy that is teaching games. I understand that. So you need some dumbed down versions to get you going. There's just a point where that it's just, you're crossing a line. Yeah. Like, you're not giving me everything. And then you want me to come back and play the game. The game was kind of horrible. Like, and I know everybody, the big thing was, and I know I keep bringing it up, but the big one for me was like, everybody was like, you got to play it. It's amazing. Best game of the year. You've never played anything better. Oh my God, it's amazing. So I was like, all right, let's put it at the table. And we played the dumbed down, hold your hand version that they give you, the starter version that you have to teach. And I go, this game's dumb. This is horrible. This is a bad game. Like, it's just, it's done poorly. It's not. And then we played the next version of it. Finally, you got me back to the table. But again, I've got 1,500 games. That's not going to get me back to the table. But you got me back to the table with it. And I thought, oh, okay, I see what other people are seeing.
I also think that goes back to Gateway Game from Van Ryder of, you are an anomaly. Most people don't have a business in the board game space. Most people don't have
I agree with
1,500 games.
I agree with that.
So if you kind of highlight the average board game player.
But do you want to be handheld like that? Do you want to be like, hold my hand throughout the entire game?
I want third date. Like, I want to know I'm safe. I want to feel the love.
And you want them to keep elements out of the game.
But my whole body's not cuddled into them.
But that's what I'm saying. But you want them to keep elements that you could enjoy the game. You want them to keep that out from you.
No, I as long as it makes sense in how you're doing. Again, Hirokani does a great job of that. Of this round, we're going to focus on learning and understanding this mechanic. And it didn't feel like they removed anything. It was just, okay, all right, great. And I got through that scenario. Okay, cool. Now we're going to add in the cards. Okay, now that makes sense. Now I understand the base level. Now we're going to add a little bit more complexity to it. Oh, okay, great. Now I'm learning something new while playing through and refreshing myself on the core mechanic in the first campaign. Now I'm adding the second one. Now I'm learning that one. Now the third one. Here's your that next step. And to me, now I'm reminding myself and getting that if I was a teacher, I could rattle these words off, but that reminder, if you will, of the first two levels I've learned. Now they're kind of becoming a mastery. And it didn't feel like I was missing something per se. Like, as long as there's a purpose behind it. And I think, again, a campaign can probably get away with that more than
I agree.
a standalone one-shot, because it doesn't feel as out of place. Because to me, it's like, I've got so much going on the board. These are usually big games. I wish Voidfall did more of this, to be honest. Like, by the time you spend 35 minutes just trying to
agree with Voidfall.
Take the box off, it's like, I know it's a great game underneath it. It's just, it's so intimidating to sit there and look at it. And then it's just kind of like, go. And I wish there was some form of
I agree with
hand-holding.
Voidfall only because it's not a very long game, realistically, if you play through and you know how to play it. And a lot of it is, now I know how to play the game. I've only got like 1 or 2 turns left to figure this in order to figure out how to win. So I just wasted all this time learning this game. And if I've got to spend this much going through your little learn session, I don't know if I want to put it back on the table.
Right.
And that was true for even Mike, one of my gamers who actually traded the game with you. He got to a point, he was like, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I was really excited. But by the time you get through it, you're going, there's not a whole lot here that makes me excited. And a lot of it was the bad taste in his mouth from playing that, and that happens. You'll play the hand-holding session, and you get a bad taste in your mouth. You don't want to put the game back on the table. And even it might be you might be missing a really good game.
But I think on the opposite side of that too, like let's use Chip Theory Games as a great example of this. Like Too Many Bones, Cloud Spire,
You've got to
Burn
own those
Cycle.
games. Those are not like something you show up and
But my point is
play.
there's no hand holding to those games, and they are great games, but it's just such a sludge to get to understanding the game to where you can feel like it's a great game. I mean, even Hopomachus Victorum, the solo one, like, I mean, it was such a grind, and I know it's a good game, and when it started to click, it felt like a good game, but there isn't really anything there that led me to learn the game other than YouTube videos.
Well, and there's a difference
instruction
between
book like that.
having nothing and then having too much. That's what I'm saying. There's a line, and a lot of games I think cross that line, but also a lot of them don't even reach anywhere near that line because they, it's the same situation.
Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Personally, I like my game to not hold my hand at all whatsoever, but kind of
He doesn't
touching
like
on
physical
this.
touch.
Yeah, don't touch me. But
Wargamer over there. Don't touch me.
In 2024, with access to YouTube Learn to Plays and Twitch streamers and all this stuff, do board games still need to teach you how to, put the booklet in it, but is it a game's responsibility that when you set up the game, it has some sort of thing to actually teach you how to play it? When you could have a little CAPTCHA code on the box, boom, to a 15-minute guy who's there to walk you through to learn how to play, and then you're immediately diving into the game as intended.
Well,
So it's almost in some ways like I'll bring up Starfall with Bethesda. Is it their responsibility to make a good game as long as they give good mod kits and then the community actually makes a good game out of it?
I mean, yes, it's board gamers' responsibility to make a good game. Like, you're buying the board game, and Starfield, yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, they
blows,
put
but,
out a terrible product
Yeah,
that
but
doesn't really teach you how to play, doesn't teach you
And
anything, and it's a terrible product, but then they just say, okay, modders, you fix our game, and they do for free.
Well, I'm not saying that the guy making the YouTube video fixes the game. I think the game is still good. The guy in the YouTube video teaches how to play the good game.
Well, and this is like putting me out of business because this is what I do. You come in, I teach you the game, I pull it to the thing. So, but however, in today's age, I feel people don't like to read a thick book of anything anymore. They don't want to be handed. They want to be told how to play. So I absolutely agree with what Brandon's saying. In today's age, I think part of your advertising budget should be you doing a teach of your game. Right? Like you either that or paying somebody if you don't feel comfortable doing it, paying somebody to do a teach of your game and having a quick, oh, I'm watching the video.
Yes.
That's how setup is done. All right, this is how this is done.
At us, we will do that. Pay us. Send
Pay
us
us.
some money.
Where's my camera?
Yeah, but I'm just saying in this day and age, I agree with everything Brandon is saying. You should be able to scan the box and boom. It walks you in setup, it walks you in walkthrough, you watch somebody play, and I click it right away because I know the 15 different elements that I'm aware of that are in board gaming. And
Don't worry, you're gonna learn 6 more soon.
I will learn 6 more from Van Ryder when they release their game. But and so in my brain, I can say, oh, that's collection, or that's set collection, or that's dice rolling, or this is this element. How are they using it differently? Oh, there you. Great. I know how to pick it up and play it. I just read the rules enough to make sure that we're following certain elements of this
Unless
game.
it's called Trick Shot.
Well, and Trick Shot was rough. But Trick Shot was wrote, I think, very
we
poorly.
spent like an hour and a half reading the instruction book just to watch a video and still feel like we're playing it wrong. But
yes,
but I agree with you. Like in the respect of, I think that for me, I'll use Wargaming as a great example. It's something I've always had interest in. And it's something I have always felt extraordinarily intimidated by, because if you go the Games Workshop way and you try to play Warhammer, I mean, you're walking away with a tome like that, and it doesn't it doesn't make sense to you. Whereas, coming in on the one Friday and playing Free Blades with Brandon, and having somebody who knows how to play the game stand with me and help me. Okay, I'm an idiot. Which dice do I pick up? Okay, what do I have to roll? By the end of the game, it started to really kind of click to me, to the point where I walked away feeling like, oh, I really enjoyed this experience, because I didn't have to know everything, and I was forgiven because I didn't know everything, because I had somebody who could say, no, now you need to kind of think about this. You should think about this. Tell me what your strategy is, and maybe I'll kind of give you some direction. And that's where I think, shops and things like that are wonderful for games, because I would much rather somebody teach me all day long.
Hold on. Are you saying CMON is doing it wrong and they need to actually build their community first? Oh, wait, that was something. That was the last topic.
I think CMON has videos about
games out there. I'm saying to learn the game.
Yeah.
The
I know.
distribution
I
versus
agree.
playing is
I
different.
agree with what you're saying. And like I said, I think Brandon hit the nail on the head with him saying that to today's day and age, I think that's the way to go. So in the pit, the new player hand-holding, I don't want a player hand-hold. I want to go all the way the first. I want everything thrown on me, do everything right away, and push through. But I'm also unique and different, right? I'm not like you guys. So
yeah. Jay and I both want third date handholds.
Third date, maybe in the rain, maybe not. Just maybe it's the time. It's the way the moon's set. Like I just want.
I agree with that. That's a good
date.
one. Yep.
Third date handhold.
Yeah, third date.
All right.
And
so,
maybe I'm wrong.
you could be wrong.
We'll have the search
So with
soon.
that said, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. What are your thoughts? Should a game handhold you? Should it cuddle you? Should it do whatever Dion said? Give us your thoughts. Don't forget, like, subscribe. It means the world to us. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the game of the week. Shay, why don't you go first?
Got you. So, the game of the week I have is right behind me. It was behind me the whole entire time.
Well, I know it's not Earth. Is it Earth?
Is it really Earth? Are you kidding me?
Our 2023 Golden Meeple Award winner for most overhyped.
Don't mess up the joke yet. Think, So I played Earth for the first time, and it is a set collection-esque, you doing your little thing to have nice little action, and you build your own paradise, your own part of Earth. And I won playing the game.
That's important, I guess,
because I was a green player. That's a whole different story. Anyway, I was playing. You play the game. I like it because when somebody do an action, at least everybody else can do an action. So I like that a little bit. I like trying to do the jigsaw a little part of it, trying to make sure I do have certain cards next to other cards. I like that. And so I thought that this game was fine, and it was my game of the week. Now, this is my camera, right? This is my camera. This game is so overhyped. It wasn't like a big, how people were coming at this game like it was like the go-to of the year. I understand. So go back to our Meeple of the Year award. Yes, this game was overhyped. I even talked to people about this game.
But it's your game of the week.
And no, this is the game of the week still. This is the game of the week still, but so overhyped. It wasn't like, it was a good game. I enjoyed myself. Ain't beating my heat. I'm just going to say that right now. That's my game of the week.
It's not going to be in his top 10 list.
Not 10.
No.
Yeah. Top 10 overhyped.
Yeah.
Brandon, do you have your game of the week?
Yeah, so my game of the week, played a couple with some friends that came up from out of state. Favorite game of theirs, and good game overall. It's a Wonderful World.
Love that game. It's a good game.
Played it one-on-one. Probably not where it shines.
No.
It's a Wonderful Kingdom is better at 1v1. I own them both. Don't know why I didn't pull out the
It's a Wonderful
1v1
Kingdom. Yeah.
variant, but
It's a little different element. You're selecting instead of the draft. But I think the draft, you almost have to create a dummy hand in order to make it work with a 1v1.
Yeah.
we didn't do a dummy hand, but it did go pretty well. It was good. He enjoyed it. So it's a Wonderful World.
What's a Wonderful World is one of those games that's easy to learn, hard to master, which is really because you're drafting, and the drafting element, the different cards you're looking at, you're trying to figure out what to build in your city and make it produce. And you only have 4 rounds. So it's also an engine builder. So when you get to the end, you're like, I need like 2 more rounds to pull off, or 1 more round to pull off what I want. And it's a really, really good game. I absolutely agree with Brandon. It is it is a highlight.
Dion, yours?
Mine is a game I was just talking about called Mind Management. We played this game a while back, and again, just skip the whole beginner player hand.
Sorry, just keep holding it the way you are. I love how on the box, it literally has an arrow pointing this way saying, don't trust this.
It does say, don't trust this.
I was like, So just viewer warning.
You
Discretion
definitely
is
should
advised.
judge a book by its cover.
Just don't trust this.
The game of calm and relaxing where everyone wins. That's what you're not supposed to trust in the game is what it's trying to say. And then it says, don't worry, you're not missing anything. You are catching everything the game is throwing at you. It's the beginner one. This is where they did it wrong, is the new player hand-holding, because we played it and I was like, this is really bad. I don't want to play another game of this. I figured out right away where you were. This was very simple, very easy game. However, this version has little elements that you add in when one side loses. It's a hidden movement game, which I'm usually not a fan of hidden movement. So to clarify, I don't like hidden movement very well. I'm not a big fan of 1v all. It's just never really my thing either. However, Mind Management did a great job of both of those and put it very well together. Even if you're going to be that one friend that is always the one that plays the one, the other people at the table, if they lose, they get to open a little pack. It lets you unlock more of the game to give you kind of more powers that way, so you can try to hunt them down next time. And so it goes back and forth with this tug of war system that has, I want to say 12 or 18 different little things you can open
and they
in
did
it.
Kickstarter to add more to that too.
Follow-up
Kickstarter.
This is they did a follow-up. Okay, I'm about to say this is the Kickstarter version. Off the page games, they really did a great job, and it's based on a comic book. That's what I really liked about it.
Yeah, that
Very
seems to be
similar
their
to the
thing.
same.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, off the page did Harrow County too.
yeah. So it is the thing. So you brought it up last week that they did Mind Management, and in my brain I thought I got to go back and play that again. So we did, and this is definitely my game of the week. Mind Management. If you have not played it, I highly recommend that you go get it at your friendly local game store or order it through me, which way you would like to set it. But it is a really, really good game. I think the last time we played it, I was like, oh man, I don't think we're going to win this one. Just move 2 and capture. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, just move 2 and capture. And he's like, 1, 2, capture. And the guy was like, are you kidding me? And the table almost flipped. So it was an amazing element.
You're looking at that side. I'm looking at this side. You sure you're up for it? Maybe try that game to the left instead. Like, I love this box.
It's really good box. Really good box. Really good game. Highly recommend. If you can't get the Kickstarter version, the regular version is still really well. Skip the new player hand holding in the beginning, and I'm telling you, you will enjoy the game, or at least realize that you are being dumbed down really bad when you play the first. Like my 8-year-old could figure it out. Type of dumbed down. So ignore that and then keep moving with the game, because the game is a really, really good game. What do you got?
Yeah, my game of the week, just the quick backstory, as I mentioned earlier, kind of alluded to it early. I had backed this game on Kickstarter back in 2021. It's one that I've been really excited about. It had been out before. It then did a second print on Kickstarter, which is when I backed it. People really, really liked the first print of it. And so I want to give a big, big shout out to Orange Nebula, because they are the company that made this game. And they had posted that their North American shipping was completed. And I wrote them kindly and said, no, you're not. I still don't have mine. And they reached out and said, hey, we see that you didn't do the shipping. However, we can either refund you fully, or if you'd like the game, we'll send you a bill real quick for shipping, and then we'll get everything right on its way out to you. And again, there are other companies that would just say, oh, sorry, you missed it, you're out. But Orange Nebula sent me literally an invoice that day for the shipping. I paid it right away, and within like a week and a half, the game showed up with everything. So that game, of course, is this big box here of unsettled. Sorry, yeah, we gotta move stuff around.
Jeez.
You know me, I can't get the tiny boxes. This is only one of them because it also has a separate box for the 9 planets. This comes with the first couple planets, but I've got 7 more boxes of planets at home as well. But long story short is this is a puzzle game. Every planet has its own unique puzzle. It is a co-op game. And it's one of those kind of games that it's dice management, dice manipulation, a lot of card play. But what's really cool about it is as you kind of siphon through and make your movements as a team, what's neat is this is the kind of game that encourages you to really try things that you normally wouldn't. Many other games kind of encourage you to kind of play very safe. This is the kind of game that when you're going after the aliens, it wants you to just poke them with a stick and beat them in the face and just see what happens. And I really like that. The one criticism that you may have, and I haven't run into this yet, but one of the actual criticisms is once you kind of figure the puzzle out, there's probably not going to be a big desire to kind of go back and play this. So this is going to be one of those games that when I go through, it's probably going to be at the swap event here at Voss. But it's only 15 to 30 minutes per player. You can two-hand it, which is how a lot of people do it if they don't have somebody to play with. And like I said, every planet has its own unique puzzle that you're trying to figure out. And the cards that you play with on the board are beautiful. The dice are big, chunky dice that you manipulate through to do your actions. So if you get a chance, you see this around, it is definitely worth picking up at least the base to try it out. It's a beautiful game. It's a very well put together game. And if you like those puzzlers that encourage you to punch aliens in the face just to see what happens, Unsettled is it.
Cool beans.
So that was a big box.
I heard a thud.
That's a big thud. Well, unfortunately, they let us know all the boxes came damaged. Apparently, they had that coming across the ocean.
Oh.
So I think we got a discount on Spiritfire. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yay.
But, yeah, anyways. Feet to the fire. Shay, you got it this let's just...
I do have it. Channel, so you probably should have games.
No.
So, the Feet to Fire, I got inspired because this weekend I played Allow Me to Mansplain. Allow Me to Mansplain by 4Y Games is you got to try to define or explain or compare things to your partner, but you have to say it in a, well, mansplaining way. And so I took it upon myself to create board game content versions of allowing mansplaining. So basically what I'm going to have to do is, well, I think what y'all going to have to do because I'm not doing it.
He wants us to look bad is what I hear.
Yeah. So I'm going to give both of y'all one of these papers. And we'll start with, who you want to start with, Brandon?
Oh, I get to pick because I don't get a paper?
You get to pick because you're going to tell me who's the most...
you can have my paper, buddy.
No, you're going to
That's
judge
okay.
to see who's the best
Oh, I
mansplainer.
get to judge.
That's
Got it,
see,
okay.
I got
10-4.
you.
10-4.
Okay.
Should we look at these?
Yeah, look at these. So basically what you do is you try to explain the top one first and then the bottom one first. The bottom one second. Now, before you explain it, you have to say one of the openers that's on the card that I have. So you say the opener, and then you try to, with 1 or 2 seconds, explain that thing. So, for example, yeah. So you go ahead and look at the openers, what you want to use. And now let's start with Dion.
I don't even know how to play this fucking game.
I told you. I just explained that.
Yeah, let's
Explained that.
pause because I'm not understanding this either.
Yeah.
Yeah, is this going to be another 15-minute segment that we end up
No,
cutting?
you only thing
Because
you do is you try to
this whole
explain
thing
what this
goes to
is
shit.
to him.
Oh, so that's the key word I have to mansplain. What's the card for then?
The card is how you start it. That's how you start the mansplain. That's the
Okay.
opener.
Okay.
What, everything?
One of them. Pick one. Yes.
So I got to get him to say this word.
Yes. But you open it up with that line.
So I'd have to say that phrase. Don't look at my card. I'd have to say that phrase
One
first.
of those three. Yeah.
Oh, just one of the three.
Yes.
And then I've got to get him to know one of these two.
Yes.
I pick whichever one I want.
I gave you 2 options. So which one you want to do. So, who wants to start?
Dion.
this is code words. It's more
It is.
complicated code words.
I agree.
For the love of Zeus, can we please go with the bid? The bid
Yeah.
is for be feet to a fire.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
So I go first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
If you got your news from a reputable news source, you would know exactly what this is. This is obviously, if you couldn't figure it out, a very complex way to play a game that we can go buy packs and stuff for and add extra
TCG?
into it. Yep.
There you go. See, look at that.
All right.
See, simple.
This is really bad.
This is really good. Now go ahead. Do yours. Pick one. I'm enjoying this.
All right.
y'all.
So if you weren't such a Karen,
Wow. Already.
you would know that the only way that you can win is you have to have these. They're very important if you were to, I don't know, score something probably.
Victory points.
There it is.
There you go. So, Brandon, who do you think mansplaining better?
You mansplained how to play that whole monstrosity.
I thought it was good, Shay. I think you're getting.
I'm trying to do something different, not just a question.
Yeah, I like this, Shay.
Because I tried to go off the box. Time me down. You know, just ask questions. That's my game of the week, though. I mean, that's not game of the week.
Game of the week.
That's my feet to the fire.
Well, there's your fall on the sword. So
Again,
all right. So, gentlemen, any closing comments as we wrap up this week
does
and head
anybody
into
hear
March?
No.
bomb finally
We're
running?
gonna do this.
people
We're gonna do
are
this.
running their lists.
Not the three people still watching the video
Yes.
at this point.
I'll do the
Jeez.
overall camera. I tried to give y'all people something different. Like when you do feet to fires, usually, hey, what's this thing? And you rap fire, say the answer. I want to do something different. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I want to do something
Yeah, it's
different.
called a segment. Usually we
Call the segment. We
But the
stick to the
segment
segment.
get dry.
We don't play
after
a board
second.
game.
You don't play a board game on a board game
Or
channel?
anything a board game. You don't play
Shay,
a party
I
game.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I get what you're trying to do.
You don't eat a pepper. Like we don't.
You eat a pepper because it was a game part of it. You don't understand.
Keep in mind that this is also the same guy that didn't want any hand holding in a game, but then wanted to be completely cuddled the entire time you're explaining the
No,
rules.
I just wanted to understand the,
The
rules.
game.
Write them better.
The game
Right.
was simple. Say the opening. Explain the thing.
Well, I didn't know
Have
which
him
opening.
say
There was
it.
3 different ones.
You
You
can
didn't, and then you didn't know what I was doing in the top and the
All right,
bottom.
Brandon, any closing thoughts as we head into March?
absolutely not. Let's end this.
All right, Shay, any closing thoughts as we end?
I have closing thoughts. I'll leave it in the comments. Look.
Well, that'll double our comments. Dion.
Yeah, Nurgle. Good job,
Yeah.
Nurgle.
Yeah, thank you, Nurgle Matt. Dion, anything close?
I've got nothing. Support your friendly local game store. So purchase local and go and pre-order. Check out my 5 for 5. That'll give you some pre-orders that you want to go and do, or at least new releases that hopefully your friendly local game store has. Never stop gaming. There you go.
Yeah. Well, and my closing thoughts this week are going to be pretty simple. It's going to be, thank you to all of you who are still here watching at this point of the video. We appreciate you. It would mean the world to us if you could share it on Facebook, if you could share it on any of the social media sites, just to help spread the word. It would mean a lot if we could help expand the viewership of this. We put a lot of effort into it, and we appreciate all of you out there. So with that, gentlemen, another great, great's a strong word. So another week that we did this together. It was time we spent together that we weren't with good people.
My ideas are amazing. Look, I don't want to hear it. They're good, and I want them to try to do something different instead of ask a
with
question
that,
next time.
Champions never,
Never
stop
stop
playing.
gaming. Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
dang it, I said gaming because I'm frustrated.
There we go.
JK.